That's the Shemaya. Let's get there. We're going to start. I know I didn't send out a Chazar today. It wasn't really for this reason, but it worked out well because we need to get this Gemara klar in order to get the next Gemara. So we're going to start with Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel at the two dots. We're going to start with, Tashema. No, Rav David, no, come, yada, Yishmakom Balev. No, Rav David, yada, come here.
There's definitely room for three over here. There's
room No, we feel like we're in yeshiva again. We get to sit on top of each other. You're not in the camera. Don't worry. Don't be nervous. Okay. Tashema. Okay. We have enough. Okay, I only put the 5 favorites. Baruch Hashem. Okay. Chaver, the plan is to get to the Mishnah tonight. Tomorrow night, the Chazer Mishnah. Not Mishnah, from the beginning. Tashema, here we go. Shir Adas V'Rava Shleisha. Kufa. Let's start with Kufa. Okay, Kufa, everyone's with me?
Yeah.
Kufa. We'll get to the chart in one moment. First is a Chazar. Shir Adas V'Rava Shleisha. V'Lulav Arba. Rav Tarfin Oimer. Ba'ama Bas Chamisha Tzvach. So when we start over here, when you look at this chart, you see all the way on one side of the paper is the number 5. That means 5 Tvachim. That's Rav Tarfin. Rav Tarfin says we're utilizing an Amma of 5 Tvachim. The first step of the Gemara, what do we think? He means you have to take a hadas the size of this entire 5 Tvachim. Step number 1. Let's get the steps clear. Answers the Gemara. Amar Rav, or ask the Gemara, I should say. Amar Rava. Sharle Marila Rav Tarfin. Rav Tarfin. You permit the master of Tarfin. How can you say this? Hashta. Avois. Shloi Shalom Mishkachinan. To find avois braided, the 3 adasim leads going up. To find that 3 tfachim is difficult. Bas chamisha mibai can't be. So ask the Gemara of Tarfin, there's no way your adas has to be this whole line. And really, so make it hopefully very clear. We're going to have 3 ways of understanding what Rav Tarfin meant when he said Chamisha Tfachim, and Amma Bas Chamisha Tfachim. So the first way is the easiest, is what we just said. Then what do you mean? He meant an entire Amma of 5 Tfachim. Step number 1, Gemara says that's impossible. So far we're clear. If anyone wasn't clear right now, I would throw you out. No, I'm joking. But this part was the easy part. Continues the Gemara. He also Rav Dimi. Rav Dimi comes and he says, Amar, Amma Bas Shisha Tfachim. Really, what he meant is an Amma of 6 Tfachim, Asei Oisa, make into it Bas Chamisha, 5, which, as you see over here, I label this as step number 1, because the first step I disregarded. It's a little bit easy. Step number 1 is you take your 5 Tfachim, you break it into 6 pieces, and now we're figuring out how each one relates to each other. So in the first step, we think Rav Tarfin required 3 tfachim over here. And now we're responding, no, it's 3 tfachim over here. Good? What do you say? No, it's a totally different amount. If it's 3 tfachim here, that's to be this big. 3 tfachim here, that's to be this big. It's very different. It's very different. Okay, let's get there. So ki also Rav Dimi Amar, Amma Bashisha Tfachim, Asei Sobas Chamisha, Sei Mehen, Shloisha Ladas, V'Hashar. And by the way, Rabbi Yaakov, I looked up the word V'Hashar is a funny word. The way they translate it not as the rest, but as the remaining, meaning the lulav's remaining Amma, which is Shver Pshat, but that's what they say. V'Hashar Lelulav. So when you equate the two, how much do you have? Tlasa v'tilsa v'chumsha. So when you look over here, when you equate Rav Tarfin versus a stam amma, because a stam amma is one with 6. So you see Rav Tarfin over here, you see the line, it equals 3 3/5 stam ammas. So far so good? So far so good. Says the Gemara, now we have a kasha. Frak the Gemara. Kasha, the Shmuel. Sthira. Hacham, Rav Yehuda Shmuel. Shardas Barav Shleisha. What does 3 mean? Anytime we don't have a qualification, it means an amma of 6. As it says over here, the middle line, the stam amma. So Shmuel said it's 3, which is here, right? And now what's the kasha? V'hasam Rabuna Shmuel halacha Krev Darfin, which is what? Here. So which one is it? Does Shmuel hold that it has to be till here or till here? Good. Again, Shmuel got up in Beis Medrash one day and said over here, 3 tefachim, stam tefachim, which is a 6 amma tefach. The next day in conversation, by the way, I passed like Rav Tarfin, which means what? Over here. So what does Shmuel really hold? Like Rav Tarfin all the way up here. When he said we paskin stam 3 tefachim, what was he being? Machmir Meiko? Meiko. So he was saying, really, it's 3 3/5. Okay, just round it. Round it down. Frakti Gemara. Hacham Ravidim Shmuel Shir Hadas Rav Shloisha. Basam Ravidim Shmuel Halachi Rav Darfin answers the Gemara Loidak. Frakti Gemara. So again, we're saying Loidak that what does Shmuel really hold? That if we were to corner Shmuel, say Shmuel, give me a precise measurement utilizing the common measuring system, which is what? The Stam Amma, the middle one. So in Stam Amma, what does Shmuel really hold? 3 3/5. So frak the Gemara. If Shmuel, you really hold it has to be to here, how in the world did you say you only need to be 3, which means still here? So everyone that year was taking a lulav this big. What does Shmuel really hold? This big. So you're going to say, oh, he just rounded it. He didn't want to say 3 3/5. Says the Gemara. You can't round down. Klar? Klar. That was the end of the Chazar. Lakula mi amina loidak. Givaldi. Before we get to the next step, tonight is the yard site. When we started this Kinyan Shir 2 years ago, it's from Menachem's brother-in-law, whose name is Yosef Yispa. When Yosef Yispa. Menachem and Yosef Yispa. So B'siyat Shmai, the Murdik is chos, because it started and restarted, and now we're here. Look at this. I spoke to Akiva Goldberger tonight, just to take a little bit of a breather of the difficult Gemara. I said, Akiva, the item's on fire. So he said, Chabura that already posted the Bellworks event, and they're on fire. So Avi, Agresia Shekayach, we'll talk more about the event as it gets closer. It is Mayurdik, and now that I went to one, now I really could convince everyone to go. Last year I said it's nice, and I was there. Now that I was really there, Mir Hashem. But by the time we get there, we're going to be so in, it's going to be pasha. But don't worry about that right now. Think like now, if I'm in, I have to take something to go to Bellworks. Okay, don't worry. Let's just continue weiter. Oh, Givaldik. I'm gonna get everyone's emails also. Get everyone on the email address. You don't have to if you don't want. Don't worry. Right.
Specific email address.
You're saying Stam, what do you mean he rounded? Yeah, okay, but I'll be honest. You get up. Whenever we talk, like, how much you have to have a revius, a Ramosha, we say, 2.8, 3.3, just do 3 ounces. So we could say that because it's always a drop machmir. You can't say, just take 2 ounces. No. So there is a muckling for a rounding, but it has to be with chumrah. Good. Now we have a new Gemara. And I'm going to be honest, a tremendous Akaras like Toiv. After I understood the Gemara today, I realized I probably learned this Gemara many times. I partially never understood it. Hence why I had to make this new chart. Because now an article, the IT, apologies, botched it entirely. It's more Chinese. Sat there reading the notes for 4 hours today. Not 4 hours. Whatever. Chinese. No, you looked at it? No, push the Chinese. The next Gemara, I learned it. Chinese. I reworked it, and Baruch Hashem, we got there. So, let's go. Everyone's ready? Let's go. New Gemara. Kiyasa Ravin. Here we go. Kiyasa Ravin. Omar. The difficulty here is the taich that we're about to see is not what you're going to anticipate. That's the warning. It's a warning for myself. Let's see if we get it right. Ki asa Rabin Amar. Amma bas chamisha tfachim. What do those words mean? So when I see those words, you know what I think? I think of this. And Amma bas chamisha tfachim. It's not what it means. Disclaimer. Article should have had a large warning. It does not mean that. It means a quote unquote Amma, 5 of those pieces. Take your 6 tefach Amma and take 5 of those pieces. And Amma bas chamisha tefachim. Create an Amma 5 tefachim utilizing the measuring scale of 6 tefachim, which is Chinese in Lashon, but in understanding it makes a lot of sense. Because we have to go back. What did Rav Tarfon say? Rav Tarfon got up one day and said, Amma bas chamisha tefachim. And we're just trying to figure out, Rav Tarfon, what in the world are you talking about? The first shot we thought he meant the hadassim have to be the whole thing. Says Gemara, crazy. Second shot is, it meant he needs 3 tefachim of the 5 in relation to the 6, and he's rounding it down in the stira. Doesn't work. Says Gemara, I'll tell you what Rav Tarfon meant. We always use the 6 tefach amma, this amma. We always use inches l'mashal. So if I tell you, take 5 inches, it means if I would tell you, take 5 parts of a foot. So what makes sense? Take the foot's measuring system and 5 parts of that. That's what he said. And Amma bas chamisha tefachim, take this, take the 6 tefach guy, and cut it into 5 pieces, 5 parts of it. Now, with that, sounds Chinese, but now the Gemara is going to read.
So we're talking now this one.
Okay, look in front of you.
This is 6.
This is 6. Take a 6 tefach amma and just take 5 parts of it. See, it's 5 parts. See, it's equal.
6 is invisible.
Yeah, leave out this 6 piece and see it's the same level. Take 5 parts of this 6 tefach amma.
Say it.
But now, how many pieces do you cut it into? 6. Because an amma is always 6 pieces.
But it's not an amma.
Very good. Masking. That word, amma bas chamisha, that's the Chinese that we're trying to translate.
This one, this third, this short guy.
Which one?
Nothing, this one, all the way to the back. Nothing about that's an amma.
Correct.
We're calling it
When
amma.
That's why if you
not
look
an amma.
at article, I'll tell you what they did. It was so tricky. The word amma, they put quotations.
Oh.
And I'm like, article, what do you mean? Mama should be forever. No. It means this is an amma. Take this and take 5 of those pieces. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now create a new amma of it. 6 pieces.
Not an amma.
So now look at the next line, and now it's beautiful. Zakti Gemara. Ambas chamish v'chmasei shisha. Same man shloisha. Take 3 of those guys. Look at the papers in front of you. 3. We're at the rightmost line. 3 of those. Shloish ladas. Shalulav. Kama havalu. How much is that? Shrei upalga. 2.5 of what?
Of a real.
Oh, beautiful.
Real 6 amma.
Good. Meyerdik.
Wow.
Meyerdik. That line is of the hardest lines in Shas because it's Pashto Chinese. But now you understand it. Everyone got it?
How does that answer the question?
We don't have an answer yet. This is what Rav Tarfon meant. When Rav Tarfon said, "An amma bas chamisha," he was telling you, you got to take this. This is how big your hadas has to be, which is really equal to 2.5 normal size amlis. Fracting Gemara. 1 second. Saif. Kasha the Shmuel and the Shmuel. We still have a stira because Rav Tarfon really holds this little bit, and Shmuel said all the way up here. Now I understand. Rav Tarfon Be'etzim holds over here, down over here. When he got up in the base of Medrash and he said 3 tefachim, which means 3 standard tvachim. Now he's being machmir. He's rounding up. Now, so I said, "Kashi Shmuel, loy talk, v'hainu lechumra loy talk." Damar Avuna Amar Shmuel halach to Rav Tarfon. So Seifa Davar, I want to show you something beautiful. This circled area in the middle is klar how big your adas had to be. Because that is where Shmuel got up one day and said, it needs to be 3 tvachim. The whole complication was, there's another member of Shmuel that's like Rav Tarfon, and Rav Tarfon said this cryptic line, which we now have 3 ways of understanding the cryptic line. Way number 1 was what? Rav Tarfon required your adasin to be this whole thing. Way number 2 was Rav Tarfon requires till here. He just, but wait, but then he's being makel. Way number 3, Rav Tarfon really only required down here. He's being machmir by requiring to there. Meyerdik. Read it again. It's beautiful. It's Chinese in the reading. Understanding is beautiful. Let me say it outside one more time. Good. Let's re-say it another way. Shmuel holds 2 things. Number 1, Shmuel, how big do my das have to be? 3. 3 what? Oh, well, we know what 3 is. Pull out your tzvach measuring stick, which is what? This over here, this middle guy. That's what 3 means. Klar. Shmuel holds something else. Halach like Rav Tarfon. What does Rav Tarfon hold? That's the problem. Point number 1 was, he needs the whole thing. Point number 2 was, he needs to hear. Kasha on point number 1 was, not shaykh to be so big. Kasha point number 2 was, how you being more makel? Opinion number 3 is, really, he only holds you need to be this little guy. And when Shmuel said it needs to be 3, what?
That's what that's what.
When he said, when Rav Tarfon said an Amma Bas Chamisha, and 3 of those, he meant down here.
Which doesn't fit in the words of what Tarfon said.
No.
In any
the words
way.
of Tarfon in
Yes. Tarfon said Amma
Yes.
Bas Chamisha.
Yes.
He's not talking about an Amma, and he's not talking about a Bas Chamisha.
He's talking about a Chamisha of an Amma to split up. Correct. Correct.
He's not talking about an Amma, and he's not talking about Chamisha.
Correct.
All right.
Well, again,
I'm not crazy here.
First shot was also crazy. When he said Amma Bas Chamisha, he meant to take a whole Amma Bas Chamisha, which we pointed out when we read that. He didn't say that. Okay, leave that. The second shot, which I think is really what's bothering you, is the second shot of the words is the best. Yeah. No, the words are the best.
We couldn't stem
with
and what he said. So we blew up our Tarfon and said, now okay.
So this is called when you have no choice and you have a straight, no, you should know. You're bringing a very good point. Sometimes the Gemara would say, Kasha, Steer and Shmuel, Kasha, Shmer. So now you see a beautiful Yesod in Gemara. I think you're bringing us something very nice. If we could any which way tie yourself in a pretzel, stuff it in, that it's some resemblance of the Pshat, we'd rather do that than with the Kasha. That's what we're doing over here. But you're right, it's super schwer. And this, what in the world? But it means an Amma of 5 of the 6. Again, I think it's the first time I answered this Gemara. Shkoyach to the ganze Chevra. Everyone can take one. I can print out more. Yeah, you can take this one. Have it on my computer. Keep it, and we got to get